Okay, we're going to solve 2x squared is less than 11x plus 6. Now the first thing that we want to do is to get 0 on one side. Since we have a quadratic term, 2x squared, that's already positive, we want to keep it that way. So we're going to get 0 on one side by subtracting the 11x and the 6. That will give us 2x squared minus 11x minus 6 is less than 0. Now we're hoping that the left-hand side factors, and sure enough it does. So we're going to factor the left-hand side to 2x plus 1 times x minus 6. Okay, now these two factors are going to give us what we call our critical points. And the critical points are whenever either one of our factors is set equal to 0. So we'll set each of these factors equal to 0 and solve for x. This one is pretty easy. We just get x equals 6. And the other one is a two-step equation. 2x equals negative 1, so x equals negative 1/2. Great. So now we have x equals negative 1/2 and x equals 6 for our two critical points. The reason we call these critical points is this is where our function changes from being positive to negative. So the next is we're going to graph those two numbers on a number line. So here is x equals negative 1/2. Here, not to scale, is x equals 6. And then I like to dash the dashed lines here so I can set these two apart. And now I want to remember that my inequality was, let's see, 2x plus 1 times x minus 6 was less than 0. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to pick test points in each of these intervals. So the first test point I'm going to pick is way over here in this interval on the far left, and any number over here in this interval will be fine. So let's pick, I don't know, let's say negative 2. Negative 3, negative 10, negative 1, any of these numbers would be fine, so I'll pick negative 2. And I'm going to take that negative 2 and plug it into my inequality, see if I get something that's true or false. So let's see, plugging that in for x, that would give me 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and then plus 1, and then negative 2 minus 6. So let's see, the first parentheses is going to get negative 3, second parentheses, negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8, and when I multiply those together, I get 24. And these were all supposed to be less than 0, less than 0, less than 0. Well, unfortunately, when I look at that, 24 is not less than 0, so I'm going to put false. Now, if you had decided to pick any different number in that interval, less than negative 1/2, your numbers might be different in the middle here, right here, but you would still get the same result. You would still get something that was false by the time you were finished. Okay, moving on to the interval in the middle, the easiest number to pick between negative 1 and 6 is the number 0. So plugging that into our function, we're going to get 2 times 0 is 0, and then plus 1, and 0 minus 6. So that's going to give us 1 times negative 6, less than 0, less than 0. Negative 6 is less than 0. And that statement's true. Negative 6 is less than 0. So I'm going to write true in the middle. Now again, it doesn't matter which number that you pick between negative 1/2 and positive 6. You would still get out true for your final answer here. Okay, last thing to do, let's pick a number over here in the interval on the far right-hand side. How about x equals 10? That's an ugly looking 10. Let's try that again. How about x equals 10? Okay, so when we plug in x equals 10, we're going to get 2 times 10 is 20, plus 1, and 10 minus 6. So that's going to give us 21 and 4. That's a pretty big number. Oh, less than 0, less than 0. So let's see, that's going to be 84 is less than 0. That is definitely not true. So we have false on this side. Okay. So the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to select which interval or intervals is the correct choice. Now you always want to choose the interval or intervals where you got true statements. So it looks like for us the only interval that we had a true statement was this interval right here. Now this interval starts at -2 and travels to 6. Since we have a strict inequality sign up here, we're not going to put equals to's or brackets, so it looks like our answer would be parenthesis -1/2 to 6 close parenthesis. And that would be our final answer.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.